She gave her last $20 to a stranger. "Thank you, child. This means everything." Not long after, that stranger's grandson proposed. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Leora had been invisible for months. Not literally. She showed up every morning at Lux and Stone, the most exclusive jewelry boutique in downtown Atlanta. She polished the cases, arranged the diamond displays, and smiled at customers who looked right through her. Her manager, Vanessa, had made one thing clear from the very beginning. Leora was not there to sell. She was there to run errands, dry cleaning, coffee, vault cleaning, whatever Vanessa did not want to do herself. And every time Leora managed to land a sale anyway, Vanessa found a reason to flip the commission to one of the senior girls. Paperwork error, client reassignment, whatever excuse fit the day. The senior staff had a name for Leora behind her back. The placeholder. She knew. She did not quit. She needed rent. One morning started like every other. Slow, cold, and slightly humiliating. Leora was rearranging a tray of diamond chokers when the front door opened. An elderly woman walked in. She moved carefully, the way people move when their joints hurt. Her coat was thin. Her sneakers were cracked at the toe. Her hair was tucked under a faded headscarf. She looked like she had taken several buses to get here and was not sure she had the right address. The senior girls exchanged glances. One of them, Cassidy, stepped forward before the woman even reached the display cases. "Can I help you?" The words were polite. The tone was not. "I just want to look around," the elderly woman said softly. Vanessa appeared from the back like she had been summoned, heels clicking, perfume arriving before she did. She looked the woman up and down the way you look at a bug you are deciding whether to step on. "This isn't that kind of store," Vanessa said. "Excuse me, we serve high-end clients." Vanessa's smile was the cruelest kind, perfectly shaped. "You'd be more comfortable somewhere else." The room laughed, not loudly, just enough. Leora felt something tighten in her chest. She set down the choker tray, walked across the floor, and touched the elderly woman's arm gently. "Can I get you some water?" The room went quiet in a different way now. The elderly woman looked at Leora like she had not expected that. Like kindness was something she had stopped anticipating. "That would be nice." Leora brought her water and found her a chair near the side wall. She sat with her, ignored the whispers, and smiled. "Take your time. There's no rush." The elderly woman's hand rested on top of Leora's. Her skin was soft and dry and full of years. "Good things find good people," she said quietly. "Remember that." Leora did not know why those words hit her so hard. She simply nodded. Then the elderly woman straightened in her chair and said something that changed everything. "I'd like to see 10 luxury sets. Your finest ones. Full sets. Necklace, earrings, bracelet, ring." Leora blinked. 10? "The best you have." She worked carefully for some time, matching stones, checking settings, pulling the velvet trays from the highest shelves. She moved with intention, the way she always did when something mattered. The senior girls watched from a distance, like spectators at a bad circus. "She's actually doing it," Cassidy whispered. "Let her," someone else said. "It'll be funnier when it falls apart." Vanessa stood with her arms crossed, wearing a small smile Leora had learned to hate. When Leora laid out the final selection, 10 complete sets, each one more stunning than the last, the elderly woman clasped her hands together. "I'll take all of them." The room tilted. Leora exhaled. She could barely keep the smile off her face. That comes to $240,000. Dead silence. Then laughter. "Oh my God," Cassidy said, covering her mouth. The elderly woman patted her pockets, checked her coat, and looked up with a gentle sigh. "I don't have my card on me, dear. My grandson has it. I'll need to reach him." The laughter came harder this time, not behind hands, out loud. Vanessa walked forward slowly, as though she was savoring every step. She stopped in front of Leora, close enough that Leora could smell her perfume. "You really thought she could afford this?" It was not a question. Leora turned to the elderly woman. "It's okay, grandmother. Don't be embarrassed." The elderly woman looked at her with calm, clear eyes. "I'm not embarrassed, dear. My grandson will come. I just need a moment." "A moment?" Vanessa laughed. "Honey, you don't have a grandson with that kind of money. And even if you did, he wouldn't be picking you up from a jewelry store in those shoes." She waved toward the door. "Security can walk you out." The elderly woman stood slowly. No rush, no tears. She simply looked at Vanessa for a long moment and then looked at Leora. Leora reached into her bag, found her last $20, the one she had been carrying for emergencies, and pressed it into the elderly woman's hand. "For a cab, please." The elderly woman stared at the bill. Her fingers closed around it. When she looked up, her eyes were bright. "You are a rare kind of person, Leora." Vanessa's voice cut through the moment like a blade. "That's it. You brought a beggar into my store. Wasted company time. And now you're giving away money like this is a charity. Get your things. You're fired." Leora picked up her bag. She did not cry. She did not argue. She walked out into the Atlanta afternoon and stood on the sidewalk, blinking in the sunlight, with no job, no plan, and an empty wallet. She did not know what the elderly woman was doing behind her, but the elderly woman was smiling. The estate sat outside the city. The cab driver had gone quiet when they pulled up to the gates. Inside, everything was marble and light. Paintings that belonged in museums, a silence that money had bought and kept. Reed stood in the center of the living room when his grandmother walked in. He was the young CEO of Vance Holdings, one of the largest private equity groups in the Southeast. He had been on magazine covers. He looked it, tall, focused, the kind of quiet that meant he was always thinking. "Grandmother." His voice shifted when he saw her face. Something careful left it. "Where have you been?" She told him all of it. The store, the girls, Vanessa, and Leora, the one who brought her water, who sat with her, who gave away her last $20 without knowing who she was giving it to. By the time she finished, Reed's jaw was tight. "Which store?" "Lux and Stone." He was already reaching for his phone. "That's one of ours." His grandmother raised one finger. "The girl first." The security footage ran for several minutes. Reed watched it twice without saying a word. Then he leaned back in his chair, eyes on the screen, and stayed still for a long moment. He had reviewed thousands of hours of business footage, analytics, performance reviews, and boardroom recordings. He had never watched someone give away their last $20. "Find her," he said. His assistant Marcus hesitated. Leora was sitting on a bus bench, scrolling through job listings she could not afford to be picky about, when the black SUV pulled up. The window came down. A man in a fitted suit looked at her. "Ms. Leora." She stood up slowly. "Who's asking?" "My name is Marcus. I'm the personal assistant to Reed Vance, CEO of Vance Holdings." A pause. "The woman you helped this afternoon is his grandmother. He'd like to meet you. Leora stared at him. The name. She knew it. Everyone in Atlanta knew it. Vance Holdings owned half the commercial real estate downtown and several hotel chains, and her stomach dropped. Lux and Stone. She had just been fired from a store owned by the grandmother's grandson. This had to be a trap. She got in anyway. The house did something to her. Not the size, not the art. It was the stillness of it. The way the air inside felt different. Like nothing urgent had ever happened here. And then she saw him at the top of the stairs. She recognized him from the magazines, but photographs had not gotten it right. In person, he had a weight to him, a gravitational presence, like every room he stood in had been waiting for him to arrive. Leora, his voice was even. I'm Reed. I know who you are, she said, and then felt embarrassed for saying it. His grandmother appeared from a side hallway, arms open. You came. Something in Leora loosened. You live here? I do. The elderly woman laughed, squeezing her hands. Not as poor as I looked, am I? Reed watched the two of them. He had a still face, hard to read, but something moved in it just for a second. His grandmother turned to him and said simply, She's the one. Leora laughed nervously. That's not... I don't. We just met. She looked at Reed to laugh with her. He was not laughing. He was simply looking at her. Calm, steady, serious. Her heart did something she had not given it permission to do. She stayed. She meant to leave. But his grandmother kept finding reasons to need her around. Then Reed offered her a job. Personal assistant at Vance Holdings headquarters. Competitive salary. Full benefits. Direct report to him. She said no. He asked why. Because I don't want to owe you anything, she said. And I don't want people thinking I got here because of who you are. He looked at her for a long moment. You'd be turning down the highest paying PA role in the company. I know. Another long pause. Okay, he said. Then earn it. Interview tomorrow. My HR team. No favors. She showed up the next morning. She left after completing the process. She got the job. She did not see Sienna until her third day at Vance Holdings. Sienna arrived the way beautiful, dangerous women always arrive in stories like this, perfectly dressed, loud heels, radiating the specific energy of someone who has already decided to hate you. She was a senior director at the company. She had been attached to Reed's name in gossip columns for some time. She looked at Leora the way Vanessa had looked at the elderly woman in the store. Leora felt the recognition of it like a cold hand on her neck. And you are? Sienna asked. Reed's new PA, Leora said. Sienna smiled. It did not reach anything. How convenient. It started small. A whisper here, a rumour there. Within a short time, half the company had heard that Leora had slept her way into the position. That she was a con artist, that she had targeted Reed's grandmother deliberately. Leora kept her head down. She worked. She showed up early and left late. Reed heard the rumours soon after. He called a company-wide meeting. He stood at the head of the conference table and let the room settle. Then he said quietly and clearly, Leora has her position because she earned it in a process every one of you can verify with HR. She also happens to be the person who gave her last $20 to my grandmother when everyone else laughed at her. He paused. Anyone who has a problem with that should bring it to me directly. Otherwise, we're done with this conversation. Nobody spoke. Sienna's face was stone. Leora sat very still and felt, for the first time in years, like someone had put a wall between her and the world. This is where the story should have gotten easier. It did not. Sienna had one card left. She used it. She went to Reed's mother. Victoria Vance flew in from Charlotte shortly after. She was everything you would expect. Composed, aristocratic, and absolutely convinced that she could see through people quickly. She looked at Leora and saw a threat. That evening, she appeared at Leora's apartment door. She sat down across from her. She placed a check on the table. $500,000. Leave, Victoria said. Not the job. Leave my son's life. Take this. Start over somewhere else. I'll make sure no one interferes. Leora looked at the check for a long time. Then she picked it up and tore it in two. I love you, son, she said quietly. I didn't plan to, but I do. And I'm not going to take money to walk away from something real. Victoria stared at her. A long, measuring silence. Then she stood, smoothed her jacket, and left without another word. The frame-up came from Sienna. A missing watch. $40,000. Found in Leora's desk drawer by a cleaning crew. Conveniently, on a day when Sienna was the last senior person in the building. The call came one afternoon. Security at her apartment door. Reed's assistant on the phone. Come in immediately. She walked into the Vance Holdings lobby and felt every eye. Victoria was there. Sienna, arms crossed, expression arranged into careful concern. A representative from legal. We found the watch, Leora, Sienna said softly. I'm so sorry. Leora felt the room tilt. She thought about every version of this moment she had already lived. The jewelry store, the campus jobs she had worked to pay for school, every place where someone had decided she was less than before she opened her mouth. She thought about walking out. Then Reed walked in. He did not look at Sienna. He did not look at his mother. He looked at Leora. I need everyone to give us the room, he said. He had the footage. He had pulled it himself the night before when something had not felt right. Sienna, late at night, entering Leora's office. Sienna, leaving shortly after. The watch entering a desk drawer in between. He showed it to the room shortly after. All of them. His mother, legal, the senior staff. Sienna's face went the colour of paper. She tried. That's not... The angle doesn't show. Sienna. Reed's voice was flat. Don't. Security walked her out. Victoria found Leora sitting alone in the small garden behind the estate that evening. She sat down beside her without being invited. They were quiet for a while. I was wrong about you, Victoria said finally. I've been wrong before. It doesn't happen often, so I'm not good at it. A pause. I tore a woman down because I was scared of what she represented. I know what that looks like now. Leora looked at her. My son loves you, Victoria said. That should have been enough for me from the start. He proposed one evening. No production, no crowd, just the two of them on the rooftop of Vance Holdings headquarters at dusk. The city going gold below them, a small velvet box in his hand. You gave a stranger your last $20, he said, and then you turned down $500,000 to stay. I've never met anyone like you, Leora. He opened the box. I don't want to spend the rest of my life without you in it. She said yes before he finished the sentence. In time, Vanessa found out the way everyone in Atlanta found out. The engagement announcement ran in major papers. Reed Vance, CEO of Vance Holdings, engaged to Leora. The same Leora. Vanessa was at Lux and Stone when her phone lit up. She read the headline, read it again, set her phone face down on the counter, picked it up, read it again. Then she got a second notification. Vance Holdings had conducted an internal review of looks and stone management practices. Effective immediately, the store manager position was vacant. She had been fired by the man whose grandmother she had thrown out. The store fell quiet. Everyone remembered what the elderly woman had said on her way out the door. Kindness is more valuable than expensive diamonds. They had not believed her. Later, after the wedding, Leora opened the Groundwork Center, a non-profit that connected people in career transition with paid apprenticeships in skilled trades and business. On opening day, she stood at a podium in front of hundreds of people and said, "I know what it feels like when a room decides you're nothing before you speak. I want this to be the place where that stops." In the front row sat his grandmother, still in her worn headscarf, clapping harder than anyone. Beside her sat Victoria, who had become, quietly and genuinely, someone Leora trusted. And beside Victoria sat Reed, watching his wife like she was the most important thing in any room she walked into, because she was. The elderly woman had known it the moment Leora pressed $20 into her hand. Some people show you who they are when they think nothing is watching. That is the only moment that counts.